Hello everyone, this is Teacher Irene and I want to share with you on how to factor a perfect square trinomial. At the end of this video, you are expected to factor a perfect square trinomial. What is a perfect square trinomial? A perfect square trinomial is the result of squaring a binomial. A perfect square trinomial has first and last terms, which are perfect squares, and the middle term is twice the product of the first and last terms. And that is the square of a plus b is equal to a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Or the square of a minus b is equal to a squared minus 2ab plus b squared. How are we going to factor a perfect square trinomial? You have to consider the following steps. First, examine whether the first term and last term are perfect squares. How can we do that? Since we all know that a perfect square is a number that is being multiplied by itself. When it comes to a variable, the exponent should be divisible by 2. So, that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, so on and so forth, as long as it is divisible by 2. Next, look at the middle term. Check whether it is twice the product of the square root of the first term and the last term. Next, if conditions 1 and 2 were satisfied, then the expression is a perfect square trinomial. So, tatlong conditions lang po, dalawa lang po ang kailangan nating tatandaan. The first and then the last terms are perfect squares. Next is the middle term should be twice of the product of the square root of the first and last term. Then that's the time that you can factor completely the given trinomial. Following the pattern of a squared plus 2ab plus b squared is equal to the square of a plus b, or the quantity of a plus b times the quantity of a plus b. Similarly, a squared minus 2ab plus b squared is equal to the square of a minus b, or the quantity of a minus b times the quantity of a minus b. So, para mas maintindihan natin ang process ng pag-factor ng perfect square trinomials, let us have some examples. Okay. How can we factor 4x squared plus 20x plus 25? Ano yung dapat nating gawin? First, you have to consider if the first term and then the last terms are perfect squares. Diba? Followed by if the second term or the middle term rather is twice the product of the square roots of the first and the last term. Okay, tingnan natin yung solution. Is the first term a perfect square? Yes, because 4x squared is the product when you multiply 2x times 2x, or the square of 2x. What about the last term? Is it a perfect square? Yes, because 25 is the product when you multiply 5 times 5, or the square of 5. What about the middle term? Is the middle term twice the product of the first, or the square root of the first and then the last term? Yes, because 20x is equal to twice of 2x times 5. Therefore, the complete factor of 4x squared plus 20x plus 25 is the square of 2x plus 5 or the quantity of 2x plus 5 multiplied by the quantity of 2x plus 5. Okay, let us have another example. How are we going to factor 9a squared minus 48ab plus 64b squared? Again, remember the pattern that we're going to use. Let us take the solution. Is the first term a perfect square? Is 9a squared a perfect square? Yes, because when you multiply 3a times 3a, that is 9a squared or the square of 3a. What about the last term? Is 64b squared a perfect square? Yes, because when you multiply 8b times 8b, that is 64b squared or that is also equal to the square of 8b. What about the middle term? Is the middle term twice the product of the square root of the first term and then the last term? Yes, because negative 48ab is equal to negative 2 times the square root of 9a squared and 64b squared, which is 3a times 8b. So therefore, the complete factor of 9a squared minus 48ab plus 64b squared is the square of 3a minus 8b or the quantity of 3a minus 8b times the quantity of 3a minus 8b. Do we need another example? Okay, let us have another example. How can we factor 16y squared plus 40y plus 100? Is the trinomial a perfect square trinomial? Let us see. Given the solution, so try natin. Is the first term a perfect square? Yes, because 16y squared is equal to 4y times 4y or the square of 4y. What about the last term? Is 100 a perfect square? Yes, because 100 is derived from when you multiply 10 times 10. So, that is also equal to the square of 10. What about the middle term? Is the middle term twice the product of the square root of the first term and the last term? No, because 40y is not equal when you multiplied 4y times 10 times 2. That is equal to 80y. Therefore, it means that 16y squared plus 40y plus 100 is not a perfect square trinomial. Thus, you don't have to proceed to factoring. So, this is how we factor a perfect square trinomial. And I hope you learned something from this video. God bless everyone.